Hey, it's Bruce here from Lux BMX at the Darra BMX track. It's got a few different names, Darra BMX facility or Darra pump track as most people know it. Punch either of those names into Google Maps and it will get you here. It's something that the Brisbane City Council built about 18 months ago now, well, maybe a bit longer. And I heard they dropped $4.5 million on this place, and boy, is it money well spent. This is an incredible place to ride on a BMX bike. We're lucky enough to be here during the week where it's nice and quiet, but today we're going to chat a little bit about the sort of etiquette. If you have a new rider here, there's sort of etiquette you should follow so you make an enjoyable experience for both yourself and the other users here. If you're on a BMX bike, you're probably going to travel a little bit faster than some of the other kids punting around here on scooters or other types of bikes, newer riders, striders, things like that. While we don't want to discourage anyone from using the facility, we want to make sure that we don't have your kids out there running into each other head-ons and just basically just like smashing themselves. So here's a couple of tips for you new riders when you get to a track like this, and hopefully we'll make it a great day out for you. When you get to a facility like this one at Darra, look, there's a couple of options here in terms of, it's kind of split in two parts, this pump track. I've mentioned before, they dropped a fair bit of money on this place, and that really shows. And the fact that this one here has two kind of separate tracks built within the one facility here. Got right here on my left here is a lower section of the pump track, jumps are lower, speed's a little bit lower, the berm's a little bit lower. This part of the track here is great for the new rider who might be on the strider or just off their training wheels. Speeds are nice and low. What you want to get them to do is just follow the flow of the track. So when you first get here, you might see some other riders here. If you see someone on a bike like mine, or a BMX bike, and they look like they're reasonably experienced, take a moment or two to watch what they're doing and the way they're flowing around the track. That'll give you a pretty good indication of the direction you should probably take. While there's no directional arrows on the track, and you might go to some pump tracks where you will see arrows indicating which way you should flow around it. It depends where you are, I guess, and maybe it's legislation, I don't know. But look, there's no right way or wrong way or right direction or wrong direction around the track here. What you really want to avoid your rider doing is cutting straight across the middle of it. Look, we see here all the time of, we don't want to get all grumpy, you guys, but some of us are going to be traveling a little bit faster, especially when we bring a couple of races here. The parents are going to really look at you guys and think you're going to ruin the day. But at the end of the day, look, these are facilities for everyone, and taking a few hints from us will just make sure or help avoid those accidents. Everyone gets a little bit upset when it happens, and especially when there's different size riders involved. You can have someone this big and have someone like me, or hey, bigger than me, riding around this track, and those closing speeds can be quite high, even on a small facility like this. Look, you can use any type of bike at these facilities. I'm sitting here on my trusty Woods bicycle. Believe it or not, this is not that old. We just didn't get time to coat this prototype before I went out and ripped around some tracks. Any bike, from a freestyle bike where you got pegs, no brakes, awesome around here. We see a bunch of mountain bikers shred this place as well, and look, we're all about that as well. Anyone on a bike hitting this facility, ripping it up, we love to see it. But what really works best and what these places are designed for, and I know a couple of designs of these types of tracks, is a 20-inch BMX bike. The jump's designed to flow with these wheel sizes in mind, and even a 16 or 18. So if you've got one of your younger race kids coming out to a track like this, a pump track here, or one of the small ones a little bit tighter, get them off the race bike even. At Lux, we've got a bunch of bikes from 16 to 18, and the kids will just absolutely love those. They're really suited for this kind of riding. A little bit fatter wheels. They'll just teach them about flow, pumping, manually and jumping. Really great for this reactive stuff. So hey, look, we totally encourage you to bring any sort of bike from a freestyle bike, hey, but still bring your carbon fibre race bike too. So if you rock up and if you're a parent or if you're a rider and you see some other riders there, don't be afraid, just go up and introduce yourself. So hey, look, this is my first time here. Mind to watch you ride and get some tips on how the place flows, and every rider's going to help you out. That's in their best interest too, to have you riding in the right direction or being in the right place or sitting in the right place, so you don't get cleaned up if you're sort of not paying attention. And look, if there are some kids crossing back and forth and probably getting in the way, or maybe look, it's dangerous, don't be afraid to sort of introduce yourself to the parents and just sort of you know, mention to them, hey, I think, you know, it'd be safer if your little boy or girl sort of follows this way around the track. They'll appreciate that, because at the end of the day, they don't want their young rider getting cleaned up, not by one of you guys, because most of us on bikes can ride and we'll be able to miss them, but hey, if you've got some kids ripping around scooters, no brakes, that's when we see a lot of accidents going on. So look, just be polite and say, hey, look, you know, you've seen someone that's riding around here, suggest maybe a rider moves up to a lower part of the track, or just say, hey, can you just, when we're sitting up in the berm, the kid can go right around, and look, we can all share this facility together. And now, you know, we're not here to sort of say, hey, you know, look, don't bring your kid here. Hey, we're all about it. We want to get kids on BMX bikes shredding these facilities. You know, I coach a bunch of kids at race, and I bring them along here on some nights. This place stays open at 9 o'clock at night, and then that night gets a little quieter, and they can rip around this place without any sort of, you know, any sort of other kids sort of getting in the way. But sometimes you get here and there's some little kids like we've just seen ripping around here now, and look, as long as you know, they're going the one direction, that's cool. It's when they switch back and forth or come across the track, that's when things are going to get a little bit hairy here at the pump track. Right now, hey, he's got the right idea. We've got some film going in the background here, and we'll get out there in a moment too and show you how to get around the track in a nice, safe manner. So I've just rolled in the Darra for the first time, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to look around and scope out the lines. And look, today we're pretty lucky. During the weekday there's no one here, but you know, if it's a bit busy, I'll just watch the flow and I'll just check and kind of assess, I guess, the experience of the riders that are here, whether some kids on scooters or whether some other guys on bikes or kids on bikes. Or look, I'm not going to just barge right out there and just rip a hole through everything. You know, I'm going to be a bit more polite than that. Now I'm going to have a roll around and just pump it a little bit, feel it out, and yeah, go and then sort of send it from there. Right, I've scoped out the kind of flow here. Managed to miss that little kid riding around by himself. Man, this place is pretty cool. Now I'm ready to sort of, you know, go a little faster and maybe jump through the gaps here. Check it out. I was just out there ripping some laps out. Even for an old guy, you know, we travel pretty quick, so you can see it's important that everyone's kind of doing the right thing. We're at the pump track, you know, following the sort of etiquette we just spoke about just then. A little bit out of breath, you know. I've been doing this a long time. You think I'd be better at it, you think I'd be fitter, but you know, these pump tracks, they're great for some training. Hey, if you're over 40, grab a bike, come and ride it, you'll be loving it. Since we got here, there's a few kids showed up, and look, they were a bit all over the place. One of those kids is first time here, so spoke to mum. She's very grateful. Hey, now he's just chilling out on the low line, feeling the place out, being nice and safe. And lastly, thanks to Brisbane City Council for building a facility like this, man. I've already said it. If I was a young kid again, young punk on a BMX bike, I'd be loving this place. Got this, got a heap of skate parks in Brisbane City. We have the Sleeman BMX track, which we ride as well. Man, loving what you do in the Sunshine State here. And check it out on Google Maps. Just punch in pump track. You'll find a few around Brisbane, and we'll see you out here next time. Makeup in. Get this sweat off. Come on. No, we're talking about coming to the pump track for the first time, so.